Hello. Welcome on back to my channel. I hope you guys are all doing well. I'm going to keep it up front with y'all for today's video. I was kind of stuck in a little bit of a rut today. And if you're a makeup artist or makeup enthusiast and makeup lover, then maybe you can relate with me on this one. It's just one of those days where I was just really conflicted on what makeup look I should create and decided, heck, let's just throw it on back to the basics and create the makeup look that looks beautiful on just about everybody at any time of day for any occasion. So if you want to learn how I created that look right here, then keep on watching. So to begin, I'm using the Wishful Thirst Trap Juice Serum to prep our model's skin. This is a serum that acts as a great base for makeup because you'll find that it's super hydrating, and that's because of the triple hyaluronic acid and the peptides that are in this product. It's also important to note that the serum doesn't have a strong fragrance to it, which I can really appreciate. Once I have this worked into the skin, down the neck and chest, I'm going to move on to our next skincare product, which is the Get Even Rose Oil, also from Wishful. And how I apply this is I really warm it up into the palms of my hands and then press it into the skin. And I'm literally only using 2 drops of this product. It's an oil, so we don't want to go overboard with it, you know? I think a lot of people get nervous using oils on their skin, especially under their makeup, thinking it might make their skin look greasy and make their makeup separate, but truth be told, if you use it right, your makeup will never look better. For example, you see me here strategically placing it on the high points of Carly's cheekbones, down the center of her nose, and anywhere else. I really want to see her skin glow. Next, for foundation, I'm using the Luminous Silk Foundation from Giorgio Armani, and I'm applying this on with a Beauty Blender sponge. For those of you who know, you know, this is such a legendary foundation if you're one who really enjoys that luminous finish to your makeup. It makes your skin look so radiant, but without accentuating fine lines or pores. I went about a shade or 2 deeper than her skin tone, just to match her face to the tan that the rest of her body has. I can't quite remember which exact shade it was that I'm using here, but I'll be sure to link it down below along with everything else I'm using today. Once I finish applying this foundation, I'm going to head on over to the concealer, which is the Too Faced Born This Way concealer, and I'm applying this on with a concealer brush to the under eye area, the center of the forehead, cupid's bow, and chin. Once I have it placed, you'll then see me spend the next minute or so blending this out with a sponge. Alrighty, so now that we have the concealer just about blended out, it's time to add some depth and structure to the face by using the Huda Beauty Tantour Contour and Bronzer Cream. I'm applying this on with an angled blush brush, starting with the perimeter of the forehead, before continuing on with placing this underneath the cheekbones, jawline, sides of the nose, and below the lower lip. Because this product is a cream, we don't have to worry about rushing to blend this before it dries down. Therefore, the placement doesn't have to be absolutely perfect. My goal here is just to get the product onto the face in the general areas I want it to be, and then I'll be more meticulous with it once I'm blending it in with a sponge. I know many of you enjoy watching this blending process, which is why I always try including a good amount of it in these tutorials. Of course, if you're in a rush, you got things to do and people to see, you're welcome to fast forward through this next footage. But for those of you who enjoy it, here it is. Okay, so if you're still with me, we have everything blended and looking flawless, but now we have to set it with powder so it doesn't slip and slide all over the place throughout the day. The powder we're using today is the translucent setting powder by One Size Beauty, and I'm beginning this placement with underneath the eyes because usually the concealer is first to crease, and you'll notice I'm really pressing this powder into the concealer. I'm not dragging it or being too aggressive with it. I'm not even using a lot of this powder, and you can already see how stunning that under eye area looks. The powder hasn't changed the tone of that concealer we used, and it hasn't made that area look cakey. If anything, it really blurred this area of the skin. And because there is concealer on top of the eyelids, I'm setting this area as well. Even the eyebrows I like to set with powder. I'll run the powder puff back and forth through the brows to make sure they're completely set, and this will help us tremendously when we next do the brows. This will make a little bit more sense to y'all here in just a second. But as for the rest of the face, I'm using the same method with the powder puff to lightly set the makeup into place. The brow pencil I'm going to use to fill in the brows today is the Anastasia Beverly Hills Brow Wiz in the shade Taupe. I'm first starting out by brushing downwards all the hairs to get a good visual of where I want to place the pencil, and I'll slowly start building up this brow into the shape I want it to be in. Carly already has some pretty incredibly full brows, so I don't want to reshape them too much. I just want to give them a little bit more depth and extend the tail of the brow a bit. But back to what I was saying, this pencil wouldn't be working this way had we not set the brows with the powder first. Remember, we used a serum and a face oil to prep the skin, so naturally that's going to create a slippery base underneath the brow hairs. If the skin is slippery, the brow pencil will just glide over it without dispensing much product, whereas if it's matte, like it is now, it has something to grip onto. Next, I'm using the Brow Freeze Wax, also by Anastasia Beverly Hills, and I'm first brushing this downwards through the brows and then back up into the place I want it to be in. I posted this in my IG stories last week, and I got a lot of requests from you guys wanting me to use it in a tutorial. Now, because I've never been one to really get into that model soap brow trend, I can't honestly tell you how it compares to other similar products on the market, but I will say this. I have the most stubborn brows that won't stand straight up no matter what product I use, but this brow freeze worked on my brows in literally 2 seconds. It was incredible, and I applied it onto myself the same way I am here, brushing up all the brow hairs and then lightly shaping them into the final look. Now, once I've completed the other brow off camera, I'm going to begin the eye makeup using the Urban Decay Born to Run eyeshadow palette. The first shade I'm using from the palette is called Smog, which is this rustic bronze shimmer shade, and I'm very carefully placing this onto the whole lid. I say carefully because we want as little fallout as possible. Even though I did place some translucent powder underneath to catch the fallout, I just want as little cleanup as possible afterwards. And once I have this placed onto the entire upper lid, I'm going to buff and smoke out the edges with an eyeshadow blending brush using this other shade in the palette called Riff, which is a matte taupe shade, before also taking these 2 shades underneath to the lower lash line. I know this is a similar look I've done on my channel before, but as I said in my intro, it's truly a timeless look for any occasion, and it looks beautiful on everyone. Now, once we have that eyeshadow blended out and looking smoky, I'm going to use this liquid eyeliner pen by One Size Beauty to line the upper lash line. Of course, like all of these makeup steps I'm showing you, you can customize them to make it your own, but when I do a winged liner, I prefer it to look really subtle, especially when there are false lashes involved. But if you like the look of a bolder winged liner, then go for it. Next, with the Too Faced Killer Liner in the shade Kashmere, I'm going to run this through the waterline to brighten and open up the eye. It's always been such a struggle for me to find a good nude liner, but a subscriber recommended this one to me, and I'm so happy she did because this one is definitely a new staple in my makeup kit. So to save a little time, I did the other eye and lashes off camera, and now I'm dipping into this blush from Doll Beauty in the shade Let's Get Wavy, and I'm placing this onto the apples of the cheeks. I'm being pretty generous with this because, well, I love blush, and this shade is so beautiful. It's the perfect baby pink that looks flattering on all skin tones. Now, with this highlighter from Ofra Cosmetics in the shade Rodeo Drive, I'm going to dust this onto the high points of her cheekbones. Look at that. I mean, come on. I love this highlighter. You've heard me say this before, but I really think that Ofra makes some of the best highlighters in the industry, hands down. They're just so good. I feel like I had a discount code with them at some point or another, or maybe I'm just delusional, which is very possible too. And if that's the case, I'm gonna work on getting one for you guys if you want it, but
Regardless, even without it, the highlighters are worth every single penny. They're just so good. Alrighty, so now that we have the skin glowing, I'm going to use the Huda Beauty Legit Lashes Mascara to coat the bottom lashes. I almost put on a few false bottom lashes, but I said, nope, wheel it on in, Spence. We're not going that glam today. Besides, you can see here that with a little help from the mascara, Carly already has some pretty great bottom lashes as is. I just used this mascara to strategically place the bottom lashes in that spiky spider lash look that I love. And now I'm heading back to our setting powder to bake the jawline to really sharpen the cheek contour while we do the lips. The first lip product I'm using today is this lip pencil from KKW Beauty in the shade Nude 2, and I'm using this to line the borders of Carly's lips. I know she likes to overdraw her lips a bit like a lot of us do, so that's exactly what I'm doing here. It looks a little crazy at first, but trust me, trust the process. It'll all work out once we start adding in the other lip products. Once I've created the desired shape we want, I'm going to use this liquid eyeshadow from Rare Beauty in the shade Nearly Neutral to fill in the lip color. And yes, you heard me right, it's a liquid eyeshadow. I am such a goofball. I thought it was a liquid lipstick, and I didn't realize until right now, as I went to go check what the shade name was, that I realized it's an eyeshadow. But hey, shout out to Rare Beauty for creating a versatile product. I think it looks really beautiful as a lipstick. But for gloss, I'm using this one in the shade Nearly Rose, also from Rare Beauty, to give the lips a little sheen. And yes, this is for sure a lip gloss this time. Well, technically, they call it their glossy lip balm. So it's a hybrid between a lip balm and a lip gloss, which is kind of nice because you get the shine of a lip gloss, but it doesn't feel sticky. It feels nourishing like a lip balm would. Anyways, moving on, now that we have the lips done, I'm going to wipe off that powder we've had sit there for the last few minutes, and as you see, it literally just glides right off, leaving behind just the slightest amount of brightness to accentuate her jawline and sharpen the contour we had placed earlier. And lastly, I'm using the Tatcha Luminous Dewy Skin Mist to bring back some of that luminosity to the skin, which is officially the last step of how I created this bronzy glam look on our naturally beautiful model.
Stuck in a dream and I can't help what I'm feeling. I don't know if I'm breathing when you are with me. My heart is beating. I am stuck in a dream and I can't help what I'm feeling. I don't know if I'm breathing when you are with me. My heart is beating.
And there we have it, kids. I hope you guys enjoyed today's video. If you did, be sure to give this video a big old thumbs up and subscribe to the channel. You can also check out more of my work on my Instagram at Painted by Spencer. And until next time, I'll see you soon.